Daredevil Born Again Episode 3 does a great job of showing how Matt Murdock as a lawyer bends the law to protect someone versus how the police bend the law to protect themselves. Oh, the spoilers are coming. For me, seeing Matt Murdock as a lawyer is just as interesting as seeing him being Daredevil. And it's gotta be frustrating for Matt Murdock because he knows Hector is telling the truth about what happened in that subway because he can hear when someone lies, your heart skips a beat. So Matt knew Hector wasn't lying. There was an informant being beaten up by the police. He went and he found that informant and saved him from Officer Powell, who was there with another officer to kill him. And Matt risks exposing things about him because he whooped Officer Powell's ass and he's supposed to be a blind man. So how did he do that? Which raises questions. The questions Officer Powell had when he ran into Matt Murdock in the bathroom at the courthouse. And you gotta love how Matt just plays that shit off because yeah, you got something on me, but I got something on you too. And I love how we get to see how much of a wise ass Matt is. It's like he's playing with his food because once Officer Powell takes the stand to testify, it's Matt's turn to examine him. He's like, hey, they tell me you got a black eye. You know, in boxing, they say the cure for a black eye is fast hands. My man is a rightful asshole with it. And we see how the mood changes when he alludes to having that informant as a witness. And we see them police that have that Punisher tattoo saying, yo, that witness can't make it to here. Yo, this is the scale of police corruption we're showing. All right, I'm with it. And I truly thought like, okay, they got the witness, he's gonna tell the truth on the stand and it's all gonna be over. Nah, it ain't ever that easy because that witness took the stand, he saw all them cops and knew what would come if he said what he said, so he switched up the story and started lying. My man's heart was just skipping all over the place. And it's gotta be frustrating for Matt Murdock because yeah, you got the sense to let you know when someone's lying, but how do you prove that? And we see how far Matt's willing to go in order to save Hector's life because Hector revealed that yeah, he is the White Tiger. Okay, that got into the court and Matt fought to keep that a secret, right? Like, okay, we can't let that out that he's the White Tiger. That'll influence the jury and all that. No. We got to keep this wraps. But now that all the shit has blown up and the police are straight up intimidating my guy by just being there. Okay, Matt blows it up himself. By the way, did y'all know that he's the White Tiger? Yeah, he was out there saving lives. So how could this man that was out there saving lives be taking lives? Answer me the fuck that. And I love how upset the judge gets because he's like, you stood there in my face and told me you didn't want this out and we all agreed and you go and do some shit like that. But we see how far Matt is willing to go because, okay, this exit's closed. This exit's closed. What can I do to get my guy out of this shit because I know he's innocent? I'll do the fucking Hail Mary. And I do love how later on Hector's telling him, it wasn't your secret to tell, but I get why you did it. It makes things more difficult for Hector and this case, but I mean, he's telling the truth. And it's a beautiful spin on the law because, okay, these cops are saying that he's lying. Cool, but then how come these other cops are saying that he's actually a good person when he was helping them out as a White Tiger? What is the truth? And I really enjoy this episode because we see that Matt Murdock is just as good at talking as he is with his fists. Meanwhile, the whole underlying thing is these police that have gone and used the Punisher symbol as their own and adopted his methods of brutality. I like that the MCU is showing this, that yo, even police can be corrupt because we know that's true in the real world, right? And art imitates life, so we see how possible it is here because when that verdict comes through and he's found not guilty, breath of fresh air, and all he has to do is not be the White Tiger anymore. There's a problem with that because the White Tiger is something that's passed down upon lineage. They didn't really get that much into it in the show, but we see it's a big part of who he is, and we see him don that mask again and go out to help people, and then he pays the price for that. And that price was his life as we see the perpetrator walking off with just the Punisher logo showing into the camera. And I mentioned how art imitates life, but we've seen life take from art because in the real world there was militarized folks that were using the Punisher logo. It was in that movie American Sniper. They called themselves Punishers. This is a great example of cause and effect. Daredevil puts on a mask and he goes out, but he's not out there killing folks. Frank Castle, he ain't wearing no mask. He cocks the gun and does what he does, and we see the ripple effect of that taking place now. A big element in Daredevil Born Again is the use and misuse of the law. And I like that that's taking center stage again because in the Netflix series, he was Daredevil quite a lot more than he was Matt Murdock in the later seasons. Now we're back to the duality of man. This man that works within the law as a lawyer, but also outside the law as a vigilante. Inside the courtroom and outside the courtroom, we see how Matt Murdock will try to bend the law and also compromise the law in order to save lives. And now we're seeing how public servants take the law into their own hands to deal out justice the way they see fit. And this is what I'm here for. Daredevil Born Again bringing that real street politics back to MCU.